true self. From my father heels, I say he who knows is he who feels. So call it from within, take me. Oh yeah, reality of our true selves is what your spirit said to me. Break the spell to be now free. Whoa, roots and realize your spiritual majesty. Yeah, open up your eyes so we can now see. Whoa.
You hear me?
Reality of our true self.
Oh, I was just calling in, y'all. Hang on a second. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Hello,
What it is? Hang on a second. All right. Hang on.
are you ready?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Leon,
Yes.
you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, yes, I am ready. Okay? Yes, greetings. Yes, Cosmic Soul brothers and sisters. You are in tune again to another show, another, well, what would I say? Another journey in cosmic consciousness, the Cosmic Root Show. Okay? So here I am here with Brother Siayome. This is your host here, aka Cosmic Call Mystic and App on Krem. And this evening, I got a special guest in the vicinity, and I'm going to let you know who it is soon. But just to start with, those of you who are just tuning in now, you can tune into this show live on the net, where you type in blessradio.co.uk, and that takes you in. You can be able to tune into this show live, Cosmic Root Show with Brother Siayome. Or you can tune into YouTube, and you can catch me live there right now. Or you can tune in it through the TuneIn app. Okay, y'all. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting show, as it always is. The ones I have with me this evening. Oh, firstly, it looks like I might as well just tell you that the topic. Yeah, usually I don't have a topic right at the beginning, because how I do my show. I allow the higher within I to just flow and, arrange it in that way. But tonight's show, I have a special guest with me. The guest I have is a brother, very talented, very, deep, dealing with, is a musician, but we're talking about deeper than just what we would call music today and so forth. But look, I'll make him introduce himself. My special guest this evening is Brother Theo, okay, guitarist, musician, and we're going to talk tonight dealing with music and its vibrational influence on you, okay? And yeah, so before I go into that, I will let Brother Theo here introduce himself. And yes, so to my listeners, this is Brother Theo here, so just let them know you're here, brother.
Greetings, thank you, Siayome. Greetings, my name is Theo Calliste, and greetings to each and every one of you on Bless FM. And it's a pleasure. Bless Radio, and it's a pleasure to be here to talk to Siayome about the frequencies of the sonic sounds of our music.
Yes.
And how we interpret it, how we receive it, and how we put it out, or how we inject it out, or what we get from it, or how we eat it, feed it, whatever.
That's right.
Or cultivate it.
Yes, that's right. Cultivation,
and what it does to us, how it emanates from us, and how and all kind of things that we do with it within our lives.
Oh yeah, and how this tunes into us. This is very deep. Now we're dealing with because this is when you're dealing with vibrations, when you're dealing with music. Okay, this is we're going to talk about. There's even learning instruments. There's a way of approaching. There's the natural way of feel. And then there is a kind of contrived way, which is based on mental memorization and technical side of approaching music. Now, this technical and theory and that approach to music, it has its merits. It does have its place. Okay.
The freeze-dried method.
Say that again. Is the freeze?
The freeze-dried method.
For those of you who may not catch on to what that is, you see the freeze-dry method is where the imbalance of that way of approaching music can leave one closed down. They don't know how to open up and be spontaneously, creatively expressive. But they are very, very good in, notations and arrangements, and they know their chords, and they know the notes, and it's beautiful and magnificent for orchestration. Precise this and that. It is magnificent. Okay, but the thing is, it's like you can have a computer that it can process billions of information in about a 30th of a second, okay? But it don't has a heart, It doesn't have a heart. Without the heart, there are certain things that are limiting that dry freeze way of processing things and interacting with it. So when we're talking about music now, we know that music is also another level, which is about feelings. Why? Because music is composed of sounds, frequencies, vibrations. All of these sounds have their own frequencies, they have their own tonal colors, they have their own feeling vibration that they correspond with. And it also creates, sound also creates. There is a science called semantics, it's a Greek word, but it's the science of sound and how sound creates these, generates these geometric patterns upon metal plates when particular frequencies are amplified through them, and they have on this metal plate these some substance like corn flour or some grease or some kind of substance that acts as a medium for the frequencies that's going through the metal plate to now resonate with. And then you see, depending on the particular frequency, the corn flour, the substance on the plate is now being arranged into some serious, intricate, geometric patterns, shapes, designs. Okay, so that's showing you also that frequency is intelligent, because how is it going to construct the symmetrical, geometrical designs that it does produce?
You said sound is intelligent?
There you go. Sound, it shows you that it's intelligent, okay? Certain frequencies have certain intelligences moving through them. Okay, Theo, you can say yes?
I agree with you, because I think it's actual fact, because we are made up of sounds too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you don't believe me, listen to your heartbeat. Listen to the pulse of your wrist. Listen to the pulse within your ankle. Listen to the pulse within your temple. And they all have different frequency. If they don't, you are dead. You die if you have no sound within you.
Oh, you hear that? You see what I mean?
Yeah. So there's a reality there.
Yeah.
And that's why when you if you're sick and you go to a doctor, there's a thing that's I suppose he sounds you. He actually sounds you to make sure that your frequencies is correct and that you are in a right equilibrium with the right sound, that you are resonating on a right frequency so that you stay alive.
Well, there you go. So health has a frequency, and also there's dis-ease, you know, and every organ in our body vibrates at a particular frequency. So when you look at an orchestra, you have an orchestra, all these different type of instruments in there, but they're orchestrated in the way that each one does their own function, but the frequency complements the function of the other organ, just like another instrument complements the frequency of another instrument. So they're all working in a way where it's harmonic, and you get this beautiful orchestric music, okay? And so there's this harmonic. Yeah, go on.
Anybody out there, if you go to see a doctor for anything, ask him if you can see his. He will have a tuning fork. All doctors have a tuning fork. Trust me, they have a tuning fork.
Okay.
Well, so, and ask them if they're going to take your, if they have their stethoscope, they'll be listening out to your heartbeat, which they want to hear a certain frequency to see, of course, to see if you're well.
Yeah, exactly.
But they have a tuning fork.
And
Yeah,
they use tuning forks, and it's important to kind of understand there's a difference between a doctor and a physician. Nowadays, you would say that, well, I don't see a doctor necessarily with a tuning fork. Yeah, but what's happened is that we believe doctors are physicians. Doctors don't heal you. You know, doctors just diagnose you. All right, and it's kind of, again, there's something out of tune, okay, with the approach towards healing and so forth, health. But the word health means wholesome. So when you're dealing with a whole note, for example, we're dealing with music, you're dealing with notes, and you have whole notes or a wholesome sound. That means that it's healthy because it's wholesome. It's not fractured. It's not dissonant, meaning it's not a discordant or out of harmony. You see? So frequencies,
whole
note,
to be whole, to be
yeah. And health, if you look it up, y'all can do it now. Just look at the etymology of health. The word means whole or wholesome. Okay, so you know, we're talking about music. Okay,
in a healthy perspective.
In a healthy perspective, we're going to talk about music and how it correlates with ourselves. Okay, because this is the ultimate thing. Because the reason why music is also why it exists is because it's based on one of the fundamental principles of the three immutable principles in creation. And this is, I've said this in various shows. First one is all is consciousness. What I mean by that is that all of creation is consciousness made visible, okay? Secondly, all is correspondence. Because consciousness, all of creation is consciousness made visible, it means that there is also corresponding connections between all things that you can be able to understand that connection. You know, things correspond or answer together within various connections that all things have. So this is how, you know, you can use a kind of finite example of growth of plants and so forth. And you see everything has its particular ordained time, but nothing actually grows in a very rigid way, you know? And what you have is that you can have plants. I was saying this before I did the show, started the show. For example, that nature and the laws, the cosmic laws that the laws of nature are built upon, because it's important to understand that. You know, there are physical laws, and then you got laws of nature, but they are based upon a grander foundation. And that grander foundation is the universal laws or the cosmic laws of existence, okay? And so this higher intelligence within all things is the deeper intelligence that's keeping everything in order. However, we're also dealing with free will, okay? Because, you know, I'm not going to go too much into certain things because it will take me off on a different trajectory, and then the discussion tonight would be it would be going into cosmic laws, okay? The cosmic laws of our being. But everything has a corresponding point with other things. Okay, so all is correspondence. You can see the relationship and connectionship with everything. And then the third is all is vibrations. Okay, because all vibrations correspond to a state of consciousness. You see how that goes. So everything has its own vibrational frequency, and each vibrational frequency has its own reality, or how that consciousness then makes visible the creation or the experiences that corresponds to that state of consciousness. Yeah, and it's all linked to the particular vibrations that any particular thing is vibrating at. Now, vibrations is where something is healthy vibrations, healthy frequency, life force flowing frequencies. Then you have this healthy vibrantness, hence where you have the word vibration, and vibrant, vitality also is associated with it. So a wholesome vibration, and a vibration that connects you, that is resonant with the cosmic frequencies, because there's a difference between man-made frequencies and cosmic frequencies. You see what I mean? Now, the cosmic frequencies is governed by the infinite guiding intelligence that is regulating the function and operation and the continuation of all life forms. But it transcends the forms that it's expressing itself through. So this is a way of understanding how, when we're talking about the cosmic consciousness, which is life, and therefore life force, consciousness, intelligence, is an existing reality that is independent of form in order to exist. In fact, all forms are dependent upon that infinite life-giving principle, the creative principle of existence. So we carry this within ourselves because we are individualized expressions of this undifferentiated source. Okay, so everything is vibration. So all is correspondence, all is consciousness, all is correspondence, all is vibrations.
Just looking through the sound of vibration.
Say that again.
It sounds like looking through the sound of vibration. I'm just thinking of like when a lady is pregnant. What did they use? They use sonic.
Sonic, exactly.
They use sound to see the baby.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So you see that injection there. Sound also generates images.
Which is a vibration as well.
Which is a vibration. Okay. So it kind of gives a different view of yourself and creation when you look at how things come into being or how things come into form. It's not this solid building block process like a mechanical way of looking at things in, this earthly science,
I don't want to go religious there, but there is one of the books, for those Christians out there. Let there be light, let there be sound.
Okay.
Come forth and
well, there you go.
The creation.
There you go. Because see the truth there. That's because in this goes in the beginning was the Word. Okay, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Okay, so they're dealing with sound there. You see, because the Word became flesh, but the Word had to be a sound. Because really, what's happening? We use our tongue to formulate shapes around letters to produce particular sounds that become what we call words that we use to convey messages with, which is quite a lower form of communication, by the way. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because there is contents within the heart. There is expressions that words, language becomes limiting. However, what constructs words are letters. And these letters all have tonal notes. Okay? You hear your consonants and your vowels. Yeah? Vowels, they say. Now,
that secretes a certain pitch.
Say
that secretes a certain pitch.
That secretes
or a certain tonality.
All right. You hear that? So just to, complete it, that produces a certain pitch that you said?
Yeah.
Produces a certain tonality. Mm-hmm. Now, when we say tone, you look at the word tone, tones, and you see the word notes inside of there. Okay, so when you're dealing with music, and you're dealing with vibrations, as I said, and vibrations correspond, right, to states of consciousness, but also vibrations and consciousness corresponds to like frequencies all like states of consciousness, because there's this law of vibration where the energy behind, where the mechanism of its operation is called the law of attraction, right? Because you're dealing with the like is attracted to like principle, all right? So, but this is built on, the law of attraction is built on the foundation of the law of vibration. If you don't understand the law of vibration, you misunderstand what this law of attraction really
It's
is.
very beautiful, Siayome. So we're also going to our Kemetic brothers here. I feel like since I mentioned Chris, it's like, you know, we don't want to just leave out any other disciplines. You know, we should cover all the soul sources.
Well, it's very true, you know. But the thing is this is why, to touch on a universal level when we communicate, this is why consciousness is what you have to be relating with and dealing with. Because when you deal with personhood, this is where everything is separated, because the personhood is what is called the ego, and the ego is really a superficial surface identification with what appears to be but what is not. Yeah, just like how you can touch the tables and we can look around and think things are solid, you know, but it appears to be so, but it's not. Yeah, because we even have science that have done experiments to be able to verify or validate that. Now, not all things you hear that are told to us are actually validated. A lot of the stuff I said last Tuesday, that is theory, okay? And a lot of people take theory in, and that theory influences their perception of themselves. Then that which they've absorbed into themselves, they then project out from within themselves into this hologram. And then this hologram now becomes filled with a creation, starts to, or you could say the hologram will respond to your inner vibration and now reflect to you an experience, a personal experience that is resonating or corresponding, yeah, to your inner state. Yeah. So we take certain things as facts or beyond facts to be truth, irrevocable truth. But a lot of this stuff is theory. But I just thought I'd say that just to make a clear distinction between what I'm saying about vibrations and so forth and how science can verify this when you're dealing with experiments. Go on.
Yeah. So you're saying, like, at the moment, how we're taking this in theoretically, that could turn into a holographic kind of stuff without it being applicable to our true form.
Yes, or to our true reality, to our true nature, you see? Because when you don't realize the creative source is you, okay? Because, wow, we're going to talk about music, and I'm going to keep bringing this back to the music, because
we are talking about music.
Exactly,
yeah.
Because you are music, but you're beyond music. You see, because so it's not to kind of, limit oneself now to a label and say, we're music. But yes, you are a vibrational frequency being, but we're multi-dimensional, just like you have notes which have octaves to them. So there's multi-dimensions within frequencies. So we mentioned notes, tonations, but we also have keys.
Yeah.
Okay, in music, isn't it? They say, what key? What key? What key you in, man? Yeah? What key is this? Huh? And we have majors and minors. Well, so does the tarot deck. Major arcane, minor arcane. You see what I'm saying?
We can go beyond that, though, actually.
Yeah.
With the major and minors.
Yeah?
Yeah, we can go beyond that. There's a thing called modes that we can go within that, because it's like in our heavenly sphere, you know, we have many mansions and the keys to the many doors of that mansion.
Well, that's why I mentioned. That's why I mentioned the mansion.
We have dimensions.
The keys.
There are dimensions. There's many keys to many dimensions.
There you go. Yeah. And keys open locks.
Yeah.
So this is how we're going in this today. Yeah, we're going in this deep. Yeah, it seems like, so we're in the cosmic ocean, because that's where it all begins. That's where the center of your identity should be focused upon, rather than waves. But hey, everything is within the all, and one in all and all in one. And you are therefore the one in all and all in one. Okay, so we contain the cosmic ocean within us. Some would say the universe, but there's the multiverse, because uni means one,
Yeah.
turn, spiraling from outward from a center, one center.
Can I say exactly what you're saying? Like we have a multiverse. We do just like we have a multiverse within the human dimension.
Yeah.
There's a multiverse. We have different nerves, different systems that permeates through within our physicality. And so for like with the music, it also resonates, and therefore like we have our chakras that it resonates. But within that, we have different points within our nervous systems as well that pings. That's constantly pinging, and it's basically it's not separate. It's conjoined, but they're individuals.
Right.
As well, because they all have different compartments that doing different things in different ways that come merge into one thing.
Right, like a symphony.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I know it is deep, but guess what? We sentient beings, we are very deep.
Yes,
and just like the ocean, just like any other sentient being, like mammals or so forth, they also have the same resonance as well. If you listen to the whales and so forth, and we're all connected, just like the Earth also has different vibrance and frequencies because we are connected to it as well.
Right.
And so we have all these different elements, and that's why it's so powerful that comes upon our senses, and we can express those things because we are connected to something that's very expressive to do with this organic spaceship that we are traveling in within the cosmos.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, this is interesting because also later on I may have joining us as a brother, another cosmic soul brother of mine named Galactic Clyde. And if you're all tuning in, my brother, yeah, man, we riding the waves here. So I'm seeing how this is gonna move into the broader areas. So I just wanted to mention that because the topic is about music, but this is very broad, it's very deep, because it's all about consciousness, okay? Never leaving that as the foundation out, okay? So I'm going to inject some other aspects here cosmologically to also bring into this tonight some, liberation of consciousness, consciousness liberation, consciousness liberation show, right? Cosmic roots. Yeah. Because the cosmic reality of one's true self is what this is always, the information I share is for. And I'm going to, if it flows this way, there's going to be some things I'm going to say tonight that, if you can get this, because we're living in a time of a very different energy, vibration, frequencies, okay, tonalities, sound, harmonics. All of this is happening whether you're hearing it, because a lot of this stuff is happening beyond their ear registering, our hearing registering to the maximum point. So therefore, there was a lot of stuff going on, but it's being felt, maybe not be heard, not be seen, but you can feel it. So we have just
on what level?
Well, this is where I'm going to go with it, because I want to also not ignore the fact that yes, we have had a full moon, lunar eclipse in Cancer on the 10th of February, 10th of this month, January. Then on the 12th and the 13th, yesterday, we had that conjunction that everything was being talked about throughout the year, last year, and how all the energies have been amplifying. We've been having these retrogrades, Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, that was happening last year as well. And we're dealing with, planets that was going into retrograde early last year. And now we have all planetary energies moving direct now. Moving direct on the 10th of January, on the lunar eclipse in Cancer, there was on that Uranus was stationing in Taurus to start to go direct. Okay, so that means all of the energies are moving forward. Okay, so that means that there is like all this time of a review and everything, and the clearing and the purging. You see what I'm saying? Of some deep prior life cycle stuff. That's why I'm saying it was very intense and very deep. So it's not just, present time where we're dealing with, the moment from gestation to now, where we were dealing with clearing a lot of prior life in cyclic stuff. Now, what I would add to this is that then on the 12th and 13th, when we had the Saturn and Pluto conjunction. Now, the Saturn and Pluto conjunction did conjunct before the 12th. It was at exact degrees, but the seconds, because you have degrees and seconds within the way the planetary transits, and the timing, as we would say, takes place. So when the sun came and conjunct Saturn and Pluto on the 12th. Okay, so that now the sun symbolizes the sovereign self, the soul. Okay, the creative way how we creatively self-actualize ourselves. Now, when I mention this about the sun, people in astrology, you got to understand there's two ways of dealing with it. You got astrology where people deal with the personality. The personality complex is really dealing with the fictitious self. Okay. But and it's really the instrument that the soul, your higher self or oversoul, has created for the instrument, music instrument, to express itself through. Okay, but what has happened is that you come in here and then you get hijacked, or you go moving to the veil of forgetfulness, and then we begin to take on this force identification with our mind and the emotional experiences in this body, and you are encouraged to take on this conditioning because most of the people around you are also unconscious. Okay, so the ego, or this lower earthly self, is what is termed as the lower self, and it's only because we're talking about this false identity is what gives us the illusion of being separate from the allness of our being and of ourself.
That's interesting.
So in reality, we're not separate from all that is, but it's the illusions we're holding on to that gives us the impression that is so. So I could go deeper into psychological issues of this because we're doing the opposite of what we really need to do. We think that we need to become more spiritual, we need to kind of do more practices, we need to do this, we need to do that. And all of this plays within the egoic mindset where you're dealing with another fictitious identity to feel that, it's you're trying to, this is where we're dealing with the emotional, the subconscious emotional security patterns in folks, where you have to transcend your ego or the false identification with the emotional reactions and the story that we hold on to and the experiences that we define ourselves through that make us hold on to this illusion, right? Because experiences don't define you. They're experiences that enable you to become more aware of what you were not aware of before. Experiences can make you become more conscious of what you were unconscious of. But it's not that these experiences are what defines you. But if you use experiences to define you, you will always end up having the same experience. So why I'm saying this and going into this is that with the conjunction that we've had with the sun illuminating, sun's like royalty, sovereign, it's you, okay? It's not, in the personality astrology, they say it's your ego, okay? And then they say the moon is your subconscious or your real inner self, how you feel within, but it's still the ego. But in soul or spiritual or evolutionary or esoteric astrology, when you're dealing with the real nature of what astrology was for, the study of the star within you, yeah, astrology, study star, this is what it is. You realize that it was always about your soul, because you wouldn't be here without your higher self. Your higher self, which seems like it's a separate entity to you, is actually who you are. And you wouldn't be here without your higher self, because your higher self is universal or cosmic, in its intelligence, and it's got knowledge that transcends time and space. And it's our own inner connection or a higher source connection within ourselves. In this time, we need to cultivate and remember and come back home. Okay? 2. So when we're believing we need to become more spiritual and we start to pursue ideas in our minds or mental concepts and believe that is spiritual, you're actually just feeding the illusionary idea of yourself to attain something to then eventually say, yes, now I've arrived, or if I haven't seen the shining lights and all the colors and this, but oh, I haven't reached yet, or there's all of this, and then it becomes competitiveness. The reality is that you already are what you're looking for. But the thing is that the reason why we can't see it is because we choose to hold on to the illusion. So it's not really things you need to fight, it's things you really need to let go. It's more of a process of surrendering, letting go, making yourself empty. Yeah, when I say making yourself empty, let go of all of these fictitious ideas that you're using to define yourself with, in order to be able to surrender. That's what letting go is. Surrendering into what? The cosmic ocean of yourself. You hear the term, the universe is within you. Well, you have more than the universe within you. You are a multidimensional being, and you have a multiverse all contained within a cosmic ocean. Just like you have all the plant lives, marine plant life, and all the marine animals and creatures, I should say, fishes and so forth, within the ocean. Now, all of these life forms have their being. Yeah, they live, move, and have their being within the ocean. If that ocean was to dry up, they're all gone, because it's the ocean that sustains the life forms, you see. But as you know, with water never disappears, it just transforms. You have solid, liquid, and gas. So what I'm saying, water is a transitory and transcendental entity, okay? And it's very impressionable to thoughts, to the energy you project into it. So the ocean and water has been used symbolically for life, okay? In the abundance of water, the fools are thirsty. And what was that? In the abundance of life, people still gasping for, my gosh, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? More life. And they don't, that's why it says, in the abundance of water, the fools are thirsty, because you are within, you are the life that all form, all phenomena is moving, living, moving, having its being in. Just like the cosmic ocean, the ocean has all of these life, all these creatures, all of these fish, marine life, and so forth. If they live, move, and have their being within the cosmic ocean. The cosmic ocean is a symbology of a representation of consciousness, pure consciousness, which is what you truly is. And all forms emerge and exist out from it, you see. So this is deep, because you're not being told this because the religion holds you back to a separative thinking of that the creative source is outside of yourself and you're somehow separate. And that's all ego beliefs. It's ego. It's illusion. Okay? And this creates delusion in the mind, and a lot of people are following delusions, you can't tell them nothing different. Okay? Now, music, the body is an instrument, is the first instrument. The relationship of your body to you is this divine instrument. You hear people saying, even in religion, to be used by God. Used by God. I just want to be used by God. Yeah? Now, this God ain't nothing separate and outside of you. But if that's what you believe, then you may open yourself up to other energies that will say, hey, I'll use you as a bridge. I'll use you as a conduit, and I'll spread some whatnot for you. Yeah? And you may think, I'm so special because I am channeling this particular entity. You don't even know. And then you're being what? Your body is supposed to be the instrument, the house of your higher self. The consciousness that is above, transcends this little, ping pong ball of consciousness called the human mind. And it's your real self, it's your true self that is connected with the infinite cosmic consciousness. Okay? And it is the reason why it is the source. Without the will of your higher self, you wouldn't even be here. You wouldn't be able to have a physical experience here. Okay? So your physical form is an instrument for your higher self to expand and express itself more fully and experience itself more and of its own nature. Not human nature, but your higher self nature, source nature, cosmic intelligence nature. Yeah? This is how deep we is. We're the greatest mystery that needs to be unfolded and told, but you need to know it yourself, because you're the book that you need to go inside and read it. So I'm saying this And it's the ego, the force identity, that gives us the impression that there's two entities, your higher self and you. When, no, you are your higher self. But the thing is, it's about surrendering into consciousness. It's like you are consciousness waking up to consciousness. It's like you are consciousness becoming more realized. Yeah? It's like consciousness becoming more aware of itself as awareness becoming more aware of its own self. That's what you are. But if your awareness is focused on this corporeality and this illusionary identity, this is the spell, this is the illusion, this is like the hood over your head. This is you hoodwinking yourself. And the society does a lot of things to keep you holding on to these illusions, okay? But all you have to do is drop them. It's as simple as that, but the mind goes, the ego goes, no, it's not as simple as that. Because a lot of people have made identities out of these distortions. So I put this, and I say this in this context because I want to correlate this into the planetary energies that has been going on, because we have this intensity that's been happening. And this conjunction with Saturn and Pluto. So with the Sun conjuncting on the 12th and 13th, with Saturn and Pluto, it was an illumination point, and also a closing of an old cycle, and the letting go and a purging of taking responsibility for other energies being imposed upon you. This is going back to cycles, right? This is going back to centuries. Why I say this is that this conjunction last took place in 1284. I mentioned this in the show last Tuesday, in 1284. So that means it's 735 years that we haven't had this kind of thing, all right? So in 1284, you're talking about the Crusades, man. So you're looking at what you're looking at now in the so-called modern era, right, was established. The system, the thought patterns, the ideology, what it was structured on. Yes, Saturn represents structure, organization, authority, okay? Ultimately, it's your own inner authority and how you structure your own identity through the way you're arranging your consciousness, okay? This is what all of these planets and houses and stuff, they're really esoterical. They are aspects within you, okay? If you contain the whole cosmos within yourself, then you contain all these planets too, and galaxies, and, you know what I mean, all of the star constellations, right? Because all that is means all that is. But hey, man, how can I be so flippin', I'm only just a little bitty me? Well, the thing is that when they say that, in order to dissolve the ego or not being your ego, you need to connect with that which is bigger than yourself. Well, you know what that bigger than yourself is? That connection to what is bigger than yourself is called the primordial love energy. Some folk would say it's the power of love. But I'm making a very clear distinction between love in the egoic separatist sense and the concepts and ideas people hold about it, where there is the emotional unresolved attachment issues, insecurity issues, codependency issues outside. My emotional security is out there, you know what I mean? And that type of conditioning that leaves people codependent, and based on codependency and the fear of loss, they call it love. Yeah, because, oh my gosh, because that's where you're seeking your sense of security from. Something is familiar to you, familiarity. That's where the word comes from. Things that are repeated, and you kind of have okay, yeah, I've got a routine. I expect this now. I know this, and you become secure in that. And then when that gets disrupted, you're thrown all over the place. Yeah, I'm not talking about that kind of love. I'm talking about a primordial love energy. Primordial is what was at the beginning. Go look up primordial. And actually, in fact, the word prime means first. Okay? Prime, supreme, first. So primordial means what was at the beginning in being. Yeah, look at the word beginning in being as looks the same almost. Because the be is the being, in, and the in and the be. Yeah, because your be is the essence. It's the awareness of its own self, being. Doesn't have to be anything to be, aware of its beingness, its existence, the isness of oneself. This is the nature and the presence of the deep I within you, the deep I, the higher self, which you are. But this illusion of the separative identity is what keeps us believing that we're not already connected, okay? So this conjunction, what we're dealing with is 735 years, okay, of cycles of these erroneous beliefs, limited fear-based beliefs. We've lived through various cycles, okay, for continuous centuries and so forth. And we're at this point, and the reason why we are here in this day and time of Aquarius age is that we're here to liberate ourselves from the past. Because the structure of what's to move forward cannot be built from the past. So this is where we're in the time of seeing it, oh my gosh, the fall of an empire, you know? And, you know, it's expressing itself in all these various ways that it's taking, you know, happening in the, through the media and various things. And it's to understand that this is happening because if you're reacting to these things through fear, because fear is what, you know, what this whole thing is being set up on. As I said, this conjunction marks 735 years from the Crusades, 1284, okay? And many people died killing other people under the belief that if they died for serving God, killing all these people because they believe they're doing God's will, they will go directly to heaven and all their sins will be forgiven. That was the promise that the popes, them, you know, imposters and stuff, gave these men as well as you got the Knights Templars. It was another story on that. But you're dealing with, you know, a construction, okay? You know, it didn't just boop, pop in overnight. It's being built, you know? And now it's reached to a point where it is annihilating its own self because the seeds of destruction, based on how it was established, was set in motion by the very means that it took to establish itself. So the seeds of destruction was set in its own, with its own actions. And now we're living in a time where we're seeing this. So it's really time of taking back your inner authority, Saturn, and power, Pluto, and purge yourself from the past childhood programming. There's a lot of ancestral stuff because a lot of folk before didn't know much better because they were part of the program, all right? In the sense of the conditioning, that's what I mean. And I mentioned something about ancestors last Tuesday, and I think I'll go back deeper into that in another way. But what I want to come around with, because I know my brother Clyde may be calling in soon, but what it is that I just wanted to put this into context relating to the conjunction we've had and the energies that's taking place. And some people have called me are saying they're experiencing it as, wow, I just feel like I've let go of responsibilities that weren't mine. Yeah, they're feeling lighter. They're feeling clearer in themselves. Some people are feeling still a lot of stuff coming up, okay? But how each one is going to experience this is where the individual here. You as an individual, your personal experience. This is why all of what's happening is bringing in this emergence of your soul's consciousness, because Pluto represents your soul and the evolutionary stage your soul is at or going through. Right now, we've ended a cycle, we're moving into a new. Planets moving, the planet, this whole solar system, and planets moving into a different space within the cosmos. And you might have heard back in 1980s about the harmonic convergence and so forth, but you might have also heard in the 90s about this photonic, belt. This photonic belt, we're moving into it, a belt of light. Moving into this is like the experience of walking into a room where there's some high vibes in there, okay? And you walk in and you just end up feeling like, woo, you know what I'm saying? Feeling good in here, you know what I mean? Good vibes and shit, yeah? This energy is impacting on your consciousness and on your energy body and energy field, and it's highly positive because higher frequency always works on the lower, so we can influence the lower to raise up. But then you can walk into another room, another space, and there's a term that says, you can cut the atmosphere in here with a knife, meaning that this is so dense, you could cut it. You know what I'm saying? That's how dense it is. And you can feel the weight of that, like, whoa, man, you don't want to stick around too long. Okay, so I'm giving this analogy to give the understanding that it's like this: our planet's moving into a new space in the cosmos, where higher frequencies coming in, and these higher frequencies, there's stuff known as cosmic weather. Okay, and they're moving in the path. The planet's in the path of these energy waves coming through now. The CMEs, which is coronal mass ejections, is what they call them. And this is coronal mass ejections, what's coming off of the sun. You got supernovas imploding, kapow, you know what I mean? Creating new, what they call black holes, which leads to other dimensions, okay? And you got the energy of this going off. You got energies coming from different spaces in the places of the cosmos, of higher frequencies representing what they call 5 density and 5th density. These correlate to your energy systems, like the 4th energy center and the 5th energy center, and there's higher densities. When you raise higher in density, you are getting more subtler and subtler and expanding out. You're dealing with the more higher vibratory frequencies of your soul. So you're entering into your light body emission, okay? So your light body is starting to emanate itself through the heart center. And basically, these activations are taking place where your consciousness is like the slime's kind of dripping off, and you're waking up to who you are now. What I mean by that is that you're beginning to realize you are consciousness. You are the light of your soul. You are the soul. It's not like you have a soul. There's not a duality like who has the soul then? You have a soul. Okay, so you have a soul. Who's the you that has the soul? So there's a you and soul. You see this separate way of looking at stuff. The thing is that you are the soul. But these are metaphors, okay, of consciousness, of the higher self, meaning the higher consciousness above the earthly plane. You have direct access to this within yourself. So, I mentioned this, and I'm bringing it back to the music. Because music and frequencies, keys and notes, tones, pitch. Keys on open locks. So various keys and various notes are opening locks or locking a lock within yourself, or door. All right, let's put it this way. Keys open locks, which are attached to doors. So you open the door through unlocking the lock, or you can lock the door by turning the key in the lock to close it. So keys are not just physical stuff we put into our front door or car. Right? Keys are frequencies. Keys are frequencies, tonal frequencies, notes that are activating, which is another way of unlocking, or deactivating, which is another way of saying is locking. So the frequencies now, when we're dealing with music, we're in another time before we're dealing with modern time, even in the 70s, as recent as that. For those of us who have now reached, in our mature, stages of what they call chronological flipping, a measurement of your age. But the reality is that we're ageless because you're not these forms. But if your identity is focused upon them, if your awareness is focused, because it's all about where you're focusing your awareness. So more time our awareness is focused on this person, this idea you believe yourself to be, the conditioning and all of that. But you're not that. But if your awareness is focused on that, that's what you're going to believe you are. So it's about retuning. Tune. Okay, so we're in the music still, right? So tuning, you have to tune your instrument. You have to tune an instrument for it to put out the harmonic frequencies through the notes that is on that instrument, in order for it to play in harmony with a greater composition that is taking place. And you're a part of it. If an organ in your body, based on frequency now, is not vibrating at its potential frequency, the frequency that reflects its healthy functioning and operation, then that becomes like a bomb note within an orchestration that's all depending on all of the organs, all of the instruments to be playing in sync and harmony with one another, complementing the overall sound, where each instrument stands out, because the whole overall sound wouldn't be able to be if one instrument was out of tune. So each instrument is important, just like every organ is important, but they call it vital organs. Vital means life, vitality. So these are like energy stations for life force. And it's the life force which is the true fuel of you, not this physical food. It has its place, but this ain't the essential life. Life force is you. Consciousness is life force, energy, which activates the electromagnetic frequency that ends up building cells, building up this physical form cell by cell. So we're dealing with that life force here. So now you have music. Our friend, Stevie Wonder, what did he have? An album called, playing in the key.
Songs of the Key of Life.
Songs of the Key of Life. You see where I'm going with this, right? I hope some of you can. So the keys of life, and there's keys therefore that anti or adverse to it, because it creates discordancies, is inharmonious. It puts things out of balance. Yeah. So music, M-U-S. IC is a suffix at an end of a word, like all right, give me ICs, like cosmic is relating to what the actual word is. Logic, yeah?
Logic, yeah.
Scientific, yeah? What are the X? You know what I mean?
Suffix, yeah.
You see, with the IC. But this is telling you that music, rather than how you may have it be told to you, you go to the root of something. Muse, M-U-S. You realize that muse is going back to mythology, which is always stories that have an encoded message. It contains the essence and a truth that your soul can comprehend, but your logical mind can't. So this is the reason why symbols and mythology are more about esoterics or the hidden meaning within its construction. Hence why people will ask, did you get the moral of the story? A picture says 1,000 words. You know what I mean? This is what it's pertaining to. The inner knowledge, some would call occult, which is the hidden cultivation or the hidden process of that which grows and develops the inner you, the inner I. All right, occult. However, things can be used for the service of self through serving others, as well as serving yourself, because you realize I'm one in all and all in one. So you realize you're connected, and what energy you put out affects the whole. Or you can serve self at the expense of others, where they're now, this is what this whole system was based on. And on a higher level, it's not to be judged. This is another level of just exploration. But there's consequences with this stuff. You know what I mean? Just like with every seed you plant, well, it's going to produce the nature of what that fruit is. Yeah. So I want to bring Theo back into this, but it's just that I had to clarify something and bring something in together before we start to go, deeper dive into stuff. I just want to bring things into context.
I've been listening to what you said.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. Of the year, the 2000 years to the 2000 Crusades. You mentioned.
It was 1284, and so it's 735 years from then to now.
Yeah.
Of the Crusades. And
all the things that you mentioned within that, and you went through a lot of things. It sounds to me like, from what I've listened to, like there is, and from now we're at this era now.
Yes, that's right.
And it sounds to me like we are going through, because we're going through the age of Aquarius.
That's right.
And it seems to me like
we're entering in it. This new age.
Yeah.
That's it.
And it sounds to me like what you're saying is that we are entering into for some of us who are awakening to that, there will be like, as you said, like a cosmic shift because of the belt that we're going through.
Yeah, and all the higher energies coming in.
So therefore, there'll be an adjustment of our frequencies.
That's right. That's right.
And remember, because when I told me, it sounds very interesting because we play our instruments, and Siayome is lovely. I love the way he does it. Is he uses a particular frequency. So he's basically adjusted his frequency already for his instrument already. So that's why I wanted to make this thing of what you mentioned from the 2,000-year period up to now, and I think there are some of us people now, and what we are experiencing now, as you mentioned, politically within the wider world, within ourselves, and with our communities and societies that we're living in now. Of an adjustment. We are actually doing this adjustment period. Some of us won't get it and won't adjust to it, and therefore will be damaged by it. Health-wise.
Well, to be damaged by it, it's not damage. You're not going to be damaged by it. You're going to be damaged because you're resisting it. If you get what I'm saying. Hang on a minute. I've heard the sound before. So are we still connected here? Because it disconnects and goes back on. Let me just see who's in the studio. Leon, you there? Yo, Leon. Yo, you guys there? Anybody who's listening in, let me know if you still can hear me and there hasn't been a disconnection of, what's happening. Okay, you can still hear me. Let me know if y'all can hear me. You see? So, okay, yeah, I'm getting some response here. Okay, I think y'all can hear me. Oh, brilliant. Thank you, Tina. Wonderful. Oh, brilliant. Okay, still connected. Wonderful. Okay, so yes, please, Theo, continue.
And I wanted to sort of mention that, which is quite fascinating. I know that there are different frequencies, and I know that you've chosen a mathematical sound adjustment equation.
It's 432 for y'all. For y'all, it's 432 frequency. You can go and check this out. Now, the instruments, because I want you to come in. I'm just injecting here because the instruments that we have are mute instruments. The frequency that we have instruments tuned into now, that has become the standard. Thank you very much, son. Okay, my son just let me know. And thank you all. Glad to see that you all tuning in. Brilliant. So the instruments, our musical instruments that we have now is standardized to 440. Now, if you remember, in the time back in the a lot of us were born. Forms weren't born then, and where I was going to go back. But what I was going to say is that there was a time of nations. Right. And everyone derived their identity from their nation and nation pride, you know what I mean? That's all still ego shit. It's all, But anyway, do you have a national anthem? Over here, because it's a monarch, they still will give it to you, right? Their national anthem, right? But every country had a national anthem. Now, the instruments way back before they standardized, oh gosh, I hear that sound again? Come on, whatever's going on, stop playing about what's going on in there. Connections, reconnecting, disconnecting, reconnecting. There's a lot of energy amplified going through the atmosphere anyway. You can't see it, but you can feel it depending on how sensitive you is in the sense of how much spiritual awareness is opening up in you. You know what I mean? How much your consciousness awareness is shifting from identifying with you as being this mind and body, but actually shifting into consciousness, focusing on that which is bigger than you, which is actually what you are. You're bigger than this body. And just not digressing, but just injecting something here to just put things into perspective. Yeah. We're dealing with primordial love energy. You are made up of primordial love energy. Primordial love energy is the same as sexual energy. That's why it's so intense and deep. And, churches tell you, oh, no, you don't want to be dealing with that. That devil business and thing. All this procreation, it's only children and that's it. You know what I mean? That's your life force energy, okay? And it's primordial. That's why it's primal, deep, But it's also creative energy. It's all the synonymously. It's synonymous with life force. That's why you're able to beget another from the interaction through sexual energy. But your sexual energy is the primordial love energy. That's why sex feels so good. Let's be real with it. Unless you've got a lot of hang-ups based upon the illusions you've internalized through religious demonization of what is pure, that your relationship to your own life force energy, known to you as sexual energy, instead of it being joy and embracing life and feeling actually the presence of God in you, as you, we're suppressing it and distorting it and all of that business, and don't understand that this is a deep need. We're not talking about, look, sexual energy also is your creative energy move through your mind, through your thoughts, through how you direct your creative power. So we're not saying it's just about the physical interaction, all right? It's your creative power on all levels of your, as consciousness beings, because consciousness is creative intelligence, it's creative power. So your sexual energy is the primordial, it's part of the primordial love energy. But they tell you about primal fears. You see how it goes? Because of all this taught, this everyone's teaching to keep you suppressed, so you don't relate to the joy and the life already within you as you. You're afraid of it. Yeah? When it's all about mastering your own energy, not having your energy used by and abused by the environment, which is always trying to take your energy from you. Yeah, by focusing your attention to things outside of you when you need to be in yourself. This is why it's good to be with yourself. Some people don't want to be alone, or some people think, oh, there's something wrong with someone being alone. Well, alone is all one. It's the ego that's going to think, oh gosh, I'm separate. But if you are alone and you find you're very, it assists you to get deeper into yourself. Okay, meaning you are able to surrender deeper into the cosmic ocean that's already within you. For you now to experience consciousness itself, your higher self, then this is wonderful, because that is necessary and needed with all these conflicting waves and all of this stuff going on all over the place, which is why a lot of people are moving out more to the country to, kind of find, themselves into a more of a stable, balanced environment so they can get into themselves. But you cannot be dependent and reliant on places, because whatever you don't resolve in yourself, you take it with you wherever you go, So anyway, bringing it to through what I'm saying here. So you're seeing this orchestration stuff going on. It's playing itself out, and how you're experiencing yourself through this is going to be revealing a lot about you, to you, for you. Okay, so
we was going on, because you mentioned 440.
Yeah, so the 432.
And yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned, but I know that
I was going about the instruments back then.
Yeah, but there was a reason why it's introduced and why we trying to come off that and use a different frequency.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you can go in and explain that. Yeah, right. What I was leading it up to was to say that before the standardization of 440 to become what the instruments are tuned to, what you have.
But there's a reason behind it, isn't there?
Of course, there's a reason behind it, and I'll explain it when it comes to understanding that, why I said about nations. They'd have their own national anthem, okay? Now, in times before this standardized version of 440, other cultures had their own frequency that they tuned their instruments to, which is why their music sounded different, the sounds and the feeling of it. Oriental music sounds different to, Southern American or South American music. And I mean the whole region, not just the southern states in America. You know what I mean? This is the reason why different regions produce different kind of rhythms and different sounds and tonations. Okay? You had different cultures that had different key system, in the sense of, when we're talking about major scale and minor scale, they have a different kind of sound system, okay? Sound system. Not like the speaker box me on chat. I'm talking about they have a different scale. That's what they have, a different scale system. Okay, so before then, music, the frequencies were tuned to 432. some was 417, and you may find these
382
or 382.
depending on the architectural design of the instruments that you're applying the sound to.
Yes. So so now you're hearing some of these frequencies come back out again as tuning forks, and they're telling you also figure your sounds, and this can heal DNA and blah blah blah. What they're saying to you is that there are frequencies that really do resonate in cosmic harmonic resonance with you, because you're a cosmic instrument. Okay? So you're not a man-made structured thing. So when man-made things, so you got man-made frequencies. They mimic, copy what's organic, natural, and said, let's create a synthetic version. So that's what man-made is, a synthetic version. So you got these mask towers for our mobile phones, and the way technology moves forward gets you all, conditioned to, we're gonna have to use it.
That could be jarring to the senses.
Say that again.
It could be jarring. Some of the sounds.
This is where I'm gonna go. Exactly.
Like remember something like, say for instance, you hear a pneumatic drill, something like the workman's working, and at the moment they're supposed to use mufflers to dampen the sound, but then there's jarring, so therefore it's jarring on your frequency. That's why people complain about it.
Yeah.
Or certain technologies that produces certain sounds that also has a jarring effect. Some of the sounds can be. We quite faint, might hear it, but it will still have an effect on you, and have an effect on other animals, which much more of a bigger capacity to hear a bit more sounds than what we can hear as well. But it doesn't necessarily mean that just because we can't hear it, that it won't still have an effect on us.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It has an adverse effect. I mean, there's been reports where these mast towers, and this is not what I want to make the thing about, but these mast towers are putting out these frequencies, and these frequencies really are they don't work in harmony with your own energetic field. And there's been reports where these frequencies that's been broadcasting in the atmosphere with all these masks, you got these telephone towers, okay, all over the place, all right? So it's putting out these frequencies, and it takes 10 years, 7 to some, for the actual effects of these frequencies to manifest themselves. So at the time, people don't realize, therefore, how these frequencies can have an effect on you, an adverse effect on you. But you're dealing with frequencies, you're dealing with man-made stuff. Just like frequencies are used in military stuff, they call it, the harp. All of this, what I'm saying, you can go and look it up, so you know that I ain't just kind of, blowing bubbles out my butt. It is there for you to look up, So when you're dealing with harp, these are, again, big, giant acres of land as big, giant aerials, antennas, okay? And it can broadcast various frequencies through the atmosphere and affect weather patterns, okay? You got CERN, which, some of y'all be aware of. CERN is this giant hydrocollideron thing, yeah? Crashing atoms into each other, Now, this thing puts out a frequency that messes around with the integrity or the infrastructure of the earth. So earthquakes can be generated with this man-made machine, okay? This equipment and technology. Weather patterns can be messed around with this harp and so forth. Even minds, MKA Ultra, you're talking mind control. All of this is through frequencies. All of this is done through frequencies, but then it's presented to you when you don't understand the occult or hidden knowledge, hidden side of life, as climate change, when it's man-made manipulative stuff. What happened in Haiti, yes, was man-made, okay? All this is going to come out. That's why it's so devastating. You think it's just about, oh my gosh, some natural disaster. And I've heard some people say, the reason why it happened to them in Haiti is because they weren't Christians. That's how diabolical these beliefs people carry, believing that they are closer to what they think is God and all of that. This is the type of stuff.
Oh no. Really?
Rather than, oh no.
Oh my God.
Yeah, man, But the thing is, it wasn't because of none of that, which was being said. It was flipping man-made. That's why it was so devastating. Those who are in the know were trying to bring this information out, okay? But people get very emotional. Hey, yo, man, what's happening with this? I'm hearing this sound and so forth. Leon, I hope you're checking this, all right? Because I just want to make sure I'm connected whenever I hear that sound. But anyway, everyone is telling me so far I'm still there. So you can hear me. So yeah, these things were man-made, okay? So then it gets presented as God did this. Now, if you really knew yourself, you would know what the will of God is. And if you really understood the nature of the laws of existence, you'd understand that there is an order to things. Not rigid, but there is a cycle, you know? And what appears to be death is actually regeneration, okay? And because the West has a very disconnectedness to do with life, the non-physical, then death becomes, you know, everything. Everyone's just holding on to the physical. This is everything. You know, I can see, smell, and touch. This is reality. So there's more of a fear when it comes to letting go of this illusion, and it's called death. But there's no such thing as that. Okay, it's a mental concept. Anyway, so these frequencies, man-made stuff, are used to manipulate the atmosphere and the geographical things going on. Now, we're talking about the forest fires and stuff. In Australia, it turned out that 200 people were arrested for starting them, okay? But then there was all the people saying, oh, it's climate change, it's climate change. Well, no, you know what I mean? That word, yeah? So everybody wants to use the word climate change because it's buzzwords. Remember, there's buzzwords going around. Climate change, abuse is a buzzword. Abuse is a buzzword. What other buzzword that I was saying? You know, that moving around. But anyway, a lot of these things are buzzwords, so be careful, okay, how you're hearing it and how you think that's being in meaning and interpreted. So what's happening here is that, where does music come into all of this? We have our waves saturated with the music. Theo and myself, we are individuals who we're of a similar generational vibration. Came in here at in the middle, late 60s. He came in the middle, I came in the end, near the end. And we grew up in the 70s and were teenagers in the 80s, you know, the adolescents in the 90s, you know what I mean? Yeah. And we have, just like all of y'all who are, you know, can resonate with us here, music had a different feel to it. When I was talking about the instruments of the other nations and stuff, they'd have their own frequencies. You'd have music, when we say music, you'd have sound with instruments that would be used also for different occasions and different situations. Hence why you'd have battle cries, music that would whip you up to make you go into battle. You'd have music that would soothe you down. It's time for peace. You know what I mean? You'd have music that is like, yes, let's get, you know, merry and joyful. You'd have music that will, you know, soothe you, heal you. So you got all these frequencies, which is embodied within what is called the music. Okay? And as I said, frequencies, man-made, and frequencies that are not in alignment with cosmic harmonics. These things, as I said, somatic frequencies create shapes. Frequency creates, you know, your intentions, your thoughts are frequencies. Your emotions are frequencies. So your thoughts can affect water. Yeah? Your thoughts can affect somebody else in a positive or a non-positive way. You know, the energies you're emitting emotionally, these can be for reattaining the wholesome state, or you're just maintaining or influencing the degeneration, decay. You know what I mean? There's a word called sarcasm. And a lot of people are sarcastic. I want you to go and look up what that word means. I'm going to tell you what it means, but you look it up for yourself. You have to understand the roots of these vibrations you're uttering and dealing with. It doesn't matter if you think, oh, well, I'm putting my intention on this word. Look, it's been arranged in a particular way. It has the root of what it is. When you look at the word sarcasm, it breaks down to tearing flesh. So people use sarcasm, mockery, irony, all right, to tear people apart. You hear that? Tearing you apart, yeah? Sarcastic, yeah? And so it's always funny. Well, notice that sarcasm ain't really funny unless those who are also sarcastic can, you know, get the joke. But usually you don't get it because it's not really funny. It's very coded. Cloak and dagger shit. So sarcasm, if you got that, I advise you to erase that Cleanse your mind, your consciousness from that. Because that will freak you up too. Because the word means to tear flesh. Look it up. Yeah? So back to this music and consciousness.
So let's just say that. So sarcastic humor is not very humorous at all.
Yeah.
It's quite
It
can tear you
lethal.
up. It can tear you up.
Yeah, because you're sending out frequencies, y'all. I'm saying to you about the masking towels, I'm telling you that, and then you got people who's women having breast cancer or brain tumors and all that business. People that don't associate with that and stuff. But you got people, look, your energy, and you're sensitive to energy. But the thing is that you may be very numb and not really in tune with yourself to even realize the effects certain things are having on you. However, I'm not going to be about, well, then what do we do and get all whatnot. You see, these things also work on your stress level. If you are in stress, these frequencies is called opportunities. You have it in your body. If you're stressed, you got bacteria that build up and you got bacteria that tears down. So what happens here is that, we got plenty time. Yeah. Right. What happens here is that just like we got bacteria that build up and tear down in our body, we have you have energies, thoughts, and what you emit that build up or tear down, praise or curse. Yeah. These are fucking real effective stuff. Excuse me for my language. Yeah. I said ducking, okay? All right.
Oh, you speak French?
Yeah, I spoke French, yes. Yeah, oui, just me, anyway, right. Okay, so you got the frequencies that build or tear down. So with this, what they report is that when you're under stress, these frequencies will have a field on you. Just like when you're not feeling well, then there's things in your body, bacteria, they call opportunists. They'll be like, oh, you're not feeling well. Oh, now we have more opportunity to tear down some shit. Yeah? Because you're stressed. But when you're in a high vibration, feeling well, these opportunists vanish. Because there's no opportunity. Right? So you can't get torn down. It's just like when you see someone who's strong and, and you get people afraid of them or, because of their insecurities and what's not. Yeah, strong and, But if you see that person weak, oh, they got an injury, oh, they seem vulnerable, then you get the opportunists, innit? You get these little cowards, they run in and want to stick the boot in.
Can I inject what you said?
So that's the correlation with these things.
So can I inject in correlation with what you're saying? I'm still going through timelines, because music has time in it as well.
Yeah.
And we do go through timelines and frequencies. And you have danced around within the past frequencies to now frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
And how you correlate the frequencies from, say, when we was growing up to the frequencies that are emitting now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, excuse me. That's what I'm building up to. So, the frequencies when we were growing up, it was analog, wasn't digital. Analog is whole sound that is recorded in its wholeness. So you got these overtones and undertones within the full spectrum of the sound that you're not just hearing, you're feeling it. And these frequencies, 432, and it comes up to 9. 4, 3, and 2. 9 is a whole number, it's complete. So what you have is that instruments were tuned before you have the way things are today, more in harmony with cosmic frequencies, more in resonance with you. When you talk, you actually are speaking more in a 432 frequency. It resonates, you feel the vibration of this. But a lot of people, and it keeps you in alignment with your heart. Okay? It doesn't bypass your heart. But the music today, 440, the music today is in your head. It's mental music. And when you talk about mental is also used for people who are a bit mental, and they're a bit very mentally attached to whatever's going on in there that they believe, so they become a bit what they would call mentally ill. So 432 is a frequency that resonates more with the natural cosmic Me and Theo, because we're doing some. Me and Theo, you all there. They're hearing this sound, man. Like it cuts in and cuts out. Anyway, me and Theo was doing some music early today, and what happened is, I tuned my instruments to 432. So say what happened, bro.
My instrument was tuned to 440.
Yeah.
And I thought I'll have an experiment. I might have to detune it to 432. But I decided to experiment a bit. But what I realized that when I started to play with Siayome on his instruments, I had to shift in pitch to correlate with 432.
Right, what did you do?
So thereby to be in harmony.
Yeah.
And so I ended up basically suppressing or basically changing the frequency, even though it was in 4/4, but by nature, the cosmic nature, I was playing in 4/3/2 because I had to shift all my instruments within pitch and key to harmonize in 4/3/2.
And how did it feel to you?
It was actually quite comfortable. It was nice. It was very natural.
There you go.
It was a very natural frequency,
the key word.
and it was actually quite warm. You're right. When all it was a tune in 4/4/0, I do feel there's a starkness about it, and it's very kind of it's almost like militarized.
Yeah,
it's very militarized.
Tension.
Kind of,
you feel stressed.
Because, and what it is, it actually the instrument is much more taut, so it's much more tighter.
Yeah.
Whereas in 4/3/2, it becomes much more loose and more relaxed.
Right. You see.
So it's less tension within the frequency.
Within the frequency, which opens you up, to receive cosmic. You're in tune with yourself. So that 440 is a very stressful frequency. So you got the music now, right? And a lot of youths who didn't grow up as we grew up in the time, they don't know any different. You have some of these youths that just feel naturally drawn to the older music, and that's because of their soul.
Even today, I've met youths who I hear the music they listen to, and there's a lot of youths I've spoke to, and they're listening to stuff from 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
And I remember I was in a music shop one time, and I think he was from Norway, and he's playing. I said, "Yeah, keep playing. That's really nice, you know." And he says, "Oh, I can't help it. I listen to my parents' music, like 60s and 70s music." And this is a youth man who was like 17 years old. He just couldn't help but listen to his mother's music, and he says that he was more influenced with that than the sounds that was being produced today.
Yeah, because your soul knows this, you see. But the music now is a frequency that disconnects you from.
And I'm not taking away from all the musicians, all the young musicians out there who are producing within those frequencies. So I mean, it's still going to be beautiful and so forth, but it's just an awareness. That's what it is. It's just an awareness of what it is that you're dealing with within your soul structure.
Yeah, because you're not just dealing with, like people goes, all right, Bob Marley singing his tune. One good thing about music, when it hits you, you feel no pain, right? So hit me with music, hit me with music. Now, music can assist in healing people through the frequency that is being the vehicle for the transmitted message, okay? And therefore, music can hit you in that way and you don't feel no pain, in the sense that when you're trying to rehabilitate somebody or go through some adjustments, it could be difficult, you know what I mean? And you're going through the pain and, a painful way of trying to make an adjustment. But music can heal you or realign you in a way where you don't feel no pain. However, the frequencies in music today, it's not necessarily that you're feeling pain in the way that you would imagine pain, even though we can induce that. But what it's doing is disconnecting you from your heart frequency. And when you think of music today, compared to yesterday, when we would sit down and say, "Oh, our music is good, man," Ah, that's a good tune. It would be more because you felt it. Whereas now, to assess if a music is a good tune, it's what you think about it, not how it feels,
yeah.
how it hits you. You know there's things that go beyond mental logic that this is where you know the truth. A lot of folks, back then times, something would happen and you would have no words needing to be said. If you're on the frequency, you felt that, and we all know what happened. No one needed to talk about it and get into a mental galactics on it. But when you're dealing with music a lot today, and to re-emphasize, this is not put down to people who are making their music today, okay? What they're doing. Because a lot of people are unaware. They're unaware of they're unaware. Unawareness makes you do things where you don't know that you're harming yourself. Yeah? And you think you're having a good time. Or you don't realize that something you're doing is disconnecting you from where you want to be.
Can I just interject?
Sure.
From what Simon
Interject
saying,
anytime.
yeah. From what Simon's saying, I do agree with him, because some people think, what nonsense are you talking about? It's just music, isn't it? Actually, it's not just music. Okay, I'll give you an example. Now, the Americans, United States of Americans, okay, it's very insidious stuff. People use sounds for warfare.
Well, this is what I was saying earlier on.
And they have you can look this up and research this. There is they're at this moment, I don't know if they already do it, but they have a weapon. You point this weapon at somebody, and it produces this very low frequency at somebody, and it will turn you inside out and kill you.
Wow.
This is the sound.
You hear that?
Through sound.
Sound is powerful stuff.
Sound can kill you. You can low frequency. It can turn your insides outwards and kill you, or it can give you such a high pitch where it'll burst your eardrums
or blood vessels,
and you'll bleed. You'll bleed through your nose, through all the orifices for a certain pitch.
So hear that? Yeah.
And they do use these sort of things in warfare. It's almost like I suppose, this mythical thing of like the walls of Jericho.
Yeah, I was thinking of that.
Yeah. So
when they surrounded the walls of Jericho, they marched around it 7 times, and it was the vibration of that unified marching that built up this resonant frequency that just crumbled down the walls.
So this is in ancient times. I'm also talking in modern times to correlate what some people will have this very crazy idea to do with sound.
Yeah.
Even though like that is not the right way to use sound, because sound's supposed to be harmonious.
Yeah.
But it can be disharmonious too.
Exactly. So with the music today, and where we're dealing with our
wholeness. So we're dealing with the wholeness.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. To do with health and so forth. So sound can be very healthy if used in a proper manner.
If you use it in
its manner.
Yeah, if you use it for life.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But there's this also look an example, how we go about things. You got this knife crime, all years ago when I was going to school, folks carried knives and shit. But it's this thing where you got anti-knife. If you're not for something, they have to create this thing about you being anti-it. Yeah. Now the thing is that when you're going to say anti-knife or anti-war, now the thing is, it's like. So I mean, if you walk in and you see a knife in your you're gonna jump. Oh, I don't like knives. Yeah, the knife by itself don't do nothing. Knife, you just leave it on the table. There it is. Put it in this holder. There it is. It ain't doing nothing. Knife doesn't do nothing. It's whom picks it up and the intention behind.
Remember that bus race?
Who is using
Gun don't kill people.
People do exactly.
Yeah.
So what happens? It makes your focus upon the very thing that you're actually energizing, but you say, anti-knife. Now there's this thing. What you resist persists. You hear me?
That's one of the buzzwords they're using now, that anti-knife crimes.
Yeah. It's like saying even these buzzwords about cancer. Anti-cancer. We hate cancer. I thought cancer was produced by corrosive feelings like that. So you see what's happening. It's like there is this idea of being against something, in order to
Isn't it just an imbalance?
resolve
Isn't
the
it-
problem you feel it's presenting.
Isn't it just one of the cells in your body that's naturally in the body until you become imbalanced, then it's
Yeah.
produced, and
So-
cancer is produced?
Yeah, I mean, the way they turn around and tell you about carcinogenics, they're trying to say it's an acidic environment. That's not the truth. You see, what it is, it's like the word cancer in the astrological science, it actually means to preserve. Hence why it represents the mother, the womb, emotional, loving, emotional nurturing of the child. And depending on how you was emotionally nurtured, this is what shapes your sense of your emotional self-image and emotional sense of security and dependency. Okay, emotional security, to feel safe and to be safe and protected. So it means to preserve. Okay. Now the thing is that there is this nature of life. Okay, there is this nature to yeah.
It's 5 minutes.
Okay, so there is this nature of like to preserve, self-preservation. You hear that, right? Self-preservation. Life looks after life, you know. So there's, you know, death, illness is not natural. But so in your cells, remember, your cells are hearing everything you think, everything you feel. And each cell in your body is an intelligence of its own. Yeah? And each cell in your body, heart cells, bone cells, lung cells, blood cells, you see, they have a function and an intelligence in the station they occupy, okay? What their work is to do. Now the central, your brain, right, which is a CPU unit, is where these light codes and through your mental field, you've got all these energies converging into your brain, right, through the electromagnetic field surrounding you. Yeah, just explaining it a bit clearly, right? So there are signals that must come through. The signals come through. The cells receive these signals. They're receiving your thoughts and feelings as signals, right? To like, okay, instructions, right? So all the cells in your body need to receive that signal to know, hey, what to be doing. If the cells in your body, now some may refute it, but I'm talking more of the esoteric science of how all of this begins. Yeah, remember, dis-ease is the absence of ease. Okay, that means something not flow, life not flow, something blocks, something resistance. You can't, so therefore the energy can't reach it the way it needs to reach it. So when vital energy is no longer flowing through something, it starts to get diseased.
Decay.
It starts to decay, degenerate. Okay, because there's no life force in it. You can see that with a tree that is facing, where the sun is facing it, or where the tree where the tree is facing the sun, and then you have the other part of the part of that same tree that's more shrouded in darkness. It's getting the shade. You notice that part of the tree will start to decay. Parasites will start kicking, but the side of the tree that's receiving the sunlight constantly, it looks healthy and it grows strong. So if there's not enough vitality moving through any living structure, things will start to break down. Parasites would start to feed off of it. Okay? So what happens is that when a cell is not receiving the signal for what its part to play in the whole of the living organism, then a cell can go into self-preservation mode. So it then starts to think, oh, what? And okay, well, it starts to go into self-preservation. So it starts to multiply unstoppingly. Meaning, when it's multiplying, as cells originally do, it comes to a point where it stops. And then all those cells now get allocated a different function to become eye cells, lung cells, brain cells, you know what I'm saying, nerve cells, all of that. But when it's not receiving, when the cells are not receiving, the group of cells not receiving, and what's going on? It's like, I'm not receiving no signal. What's going on? So it then, or it will go into self-preservation, and then it starts to eat up healthy cells. So this is why they say the cancerous cells, then now it's like a tumor or some growth and something, you know, how it can, depending on which cells of what organs or part of the body that cancerous cells are. Yeah?
I'll detach yourself to.
Yeah, attach yourself to. So it's self-preservation. And I said that cancer means to preserve. That's what the word means. Too. So you're just dealing with cells that's trying to preserve its life because it's not receiving the message of life in the fullness that it's supposed to get, either by the erroneous thoughts that one is having and creating these blocks in themselves. Like a man was dying of cancer. His body was riddled with it. And he seeked this help from this woman. What's her name? Dolores Cannon, when she was alive. Or, well, physically here. And she was explaining about the situation where, like, she thought, because before you work with anyone, you want to get to the root. What you need to know something about them. Like, what is it that they're holding inside of them? Why do they feel? What do they feel? What are they thinking? What they're holding there? So you can understand where to go. Yeah, with them. So basically, it came down to this guy was angry with his ex-wife. That she had the children, she's moved on with someone else, but he weren't allowed to see his children. And he was angry with her, livid. She, So, so the woman says to him, well, look, if you want to heal, the first thing you're going to have to look into yourself and do is to let go of this anger. So this man turns around and says, no, I can't let go of it, because if I let go of it, that means she wins. And remember, the man who was saying this, he's the one in the hospital bed with his body wriggled up with cancer, right? And he's angry with his ex-wife, who won't allow him to see his daughter. And she is having a life with her new man and the child with her new stepfather and whatnot.
She's let go of him, but he hasn't let go of her.
There you go.
Yeah.
And he's thinking that if he lets go of this anger, that means she's won. Excuse me. You're the one in the hospital bed with your body wriggled up with the cancer. If you're going to talk about any winning and losing, I think you should know by now. You should realize by now that I think you lost. Or you're allowing yourself to lose by holding on to this condition. And it's a state. Anger is fire and it can burn up things. Anger, when channeled positively, can make changes. It can move things to make a creative transformation. You see what I'm saying?
I was reading, remember back in the 70s, growing up, remember the Sex Pistols? And that might sound weird and they're very angry and so forth. But I don't know how many people know that John Lydon, who was Johnny Rotten,
okay,
he was I saw a little thing he was talking. He was on Sway. He was interviewed by Sway, American internet, African American internet station.
Okay.
They interviewed him,
yeah,
and he said that he suffered from meningitis or something like that, and he couldn't speak as a child, and he had to use the sound of his anger to free himself so that he can actually save himself from meningitis, so he can actually speak.
Wow.
So he says, as far as he's concerned, his anger was an energy that he used in a positive way to free himself from the meningitis.
Right.
His anger was an energy that he...
Well, look at that, energy, how you use it.
Yeah.
So the thing we're talking music tonight, I just had to kind of put certain things into context.
I just thought it was as a quote that was interesting.
No, but
since he's in music anyway, and he just having to use it in the way he expresses himself. Even though, and I realized that for those who think punk was, but whatever, it's very bombastic or whatever, But at the same time, I've listened to John. He was into reggae music and so forth. So obviously, there were certain things that he loved, and it allowed him to let go of certain things so that he can express himself without damaging himself.
Yeah.
Through it.
Well, look at that. See, so that's an example of how anger can be used to break through limitations.
Yeah, as long as you don't direct it at somebody else.
There you go. It's the reactionary anger
that
gets destructive and mess up. You know what I'm saying? And also, if you are suppressing anger because you're feeling guilty about it, you know what I mean? You need to understand that it's an energy and it has a purpose there. It's letting you know either something it's either letting you know that something's not in alignment with you, or it's letting you know that there's something you need to change. Okay? Some people would say that anger is also behind fear. But I would say that's just one aspect of how anger can manifest. You see, but anger is a fire energy, and
anger can be a form of letting go as well.
Yes.
But you must know how to direct it, to let it go. I'm not trying to direct it at somebody else just because for using the words of vengeance or to be absolutely bad-mindedness.
Malicious.
That's a very different kind of anger.
Yeah, that becomes acidic.
So be very careful what you mean by the word anger, because sometimes because we're using a very bastardized language, and sometimes we can misconstrue what we actually mean by the words that we are using.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have to be sort of very conscious of the words that we're using, and hopefully that in our behavior and our approach to the energy that we're giving out, that is the correct energy, and not to try and harm somebody else with it. That will come back on ourselves.
So this is where we're coming into here. You see. This is how it goes, because it's electromagnetic. You know, what you send out electrically comes back to you magnetically. So words have their own tonal frequencies and colors and, you know, energy. So yeah, this language is twisted up. It's a deceptive language. It's got one word that has different flipping connotations to it. And if you're not clear in what someone means when they're saying what they're saying to you, you misunderstand them. You know what I mean? Because you're going to take on a meaning, interpretation that by yourself, but that's not what they mean. And now you're agreeing to something that you know, you didn't realize. Oh, hang on a minute. Peace treaties. Check out how most of the indigenous folk, their story, right, about how the redcoats, they come with a peace treaty, and in the English language they present things in a way which is, that's why they say forked tongue, because it's an ambiguous language. You think it has a meaning that it's saying, you know, conveying to you, but who's using the language know the meaning they have associated to those same words that you believe. Oh yeah, I got them. You know, I understand what you mean.
Yeah, we got to try not to be a bunch of bastards.
Because it's a bastard language, that's what we hear it, you know. It's amalgamations of so much compositive words, you know. You check it out.
It's like, make sure that your word is your bond, and that when you say something, you're not trying to convey something nasty and horrible, but you're true to the form of yourself.
There you go. Because this language is very, it limits you to, it's deceptive, and it's also limiting to express what you really have in your heart, for you to convey the realness of what you want to say. So you got to be very, this is why you got to learn to be articulate, and you got to be creative, because there's the limitations in the language itself, where you got to be creative to be able to generate the words to convey what your heart is saying. Otherwise, absolutely, you get all misunderstood, and this is why
speak from your heart and speak the truth from your soul.
Yes. You know,
not from your head and your intellect.
It's
pure hyperbole.
You know, hyperbole. That all rhyme, brother. You see what I'm saying? Speak from your heart. And your soul.
Don't come from an empty abyss.
Look at that. Because the abyss, though. Anyway, we can go into that. Because the abyss is the void where you got to be empty.
Yeah.
And whatever you project into the abyss will come back to you. That's what it will reflect to you. That's why it's like you got to prepare. That's what I mean. You got to prepare yourself to meet God, you know. What it simply means is that when you're going to approach yourself, you can't go into yourself with anger and malice and all them type of things. You got to come with peace. Because what you project into the void is what's going to come back. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's what you want. So that's what it means, you know. So music, man, I was just to bring it to this thing, that because muse also links to the muses. You know, the muses go back in the mythology to do with these inspirational energies, which are usually depicted as female, feminine.
Yes, my muse.
My muse.
You hear it in soul music and R&B and stuff like that. My muse. I haven't heard it very much in new music, but I know that. Do you remember the time of like the Erykah Badu's and you know, back in the hip hop R&B,
Maxwell and D'Angelo and that type of
It's used as very feminine. Actually, isn't it? It's very feminine kind of.
And this is the thing, because the feminine. Listen, man, this is beautiful, because this is what opens you up to be more receptive to higher frequencies, because it's the feeling inward aspect. You have to you have to it's that magnetic aspect of ourselves that enables us to be more receptive by surrendering and go deeper into ourselves. And then be able to express what the masculine, active.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a duality.
Exactly. Yeah. Express that which you've tapped into You see what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and move forward with it, you know, and project it out. So that's the masculine. But that feminine is what enables you to tap into the wellspring of inspiration. Hence why Muse is always usually depicted as female. So you may be 3 of them or 9 of them, and they govern over certain aspects or faculty. You could have a muse of inspiration of history and poetry.
Absolutely.
You know,
sonnets and so
yes.
And through the verse of storytelling and so forth.
There you go. So why I'm saying this is to show you that, you know, when people talk about music, what is music? Yeah? Music is to inspire you.
Mm-hmm. It's the resonance of the soul, isn't it?
There you go.
Yeah.
It was one of the, 7 liberal arts. Huh? So when music's not inspiring you in spirit, it's the expression of your soul and the breath, the spirit giving life to, oh my gosh, you know, to through the music. So when we're dealing with sound and people just go, oh, well, it's just sound. Well, you got distorted sounds. That ain't music. You got noise. That's not music. It's not inspirational. And the frequencies you're dealing with now is disconnecting a lot of the youths from the heart frequency. We grew up with the analog. We grew up with, you know, before they switched it into digital, which is cutting off the overtones and the undertones from sound, so you only get this bits. You know, they talk. It's all digital. It's not whole sound.
It's a hum you get now from the digital.
All right.
You get a hum rather than the actual sound.
The tonation, the fullness of the sound, so you can feel the healing. Even if you don't hear the overtones and the undertones, you're feeling it. You're still receiving those sonics, which actually enable you to tune into higher dimensions. Because the reason why we have keys on notes is correlated to opening dimensions in yourself. Yeah? You're moving into higher density levels. Look, the chakra system, which is an instrument, an aspect of your energy body, you got from 0 to 7. Look at the notes on a piano. And then you got the 8th note, which is the octave. Right? So you got C, from C to C again.
We have it within our being.
We have it there within ourselves. You see what I'm saying? So it's to understand that your physical form, your cosmic biological time space suit, your time vehicle, right, that you're in, your time body. This is an instrument for you to have your higher self conduct itself through it. You're the music. That's why you have a voice. That's why your vocal sonic sounds can produce healing within your own system, soothing to you. You see what I mean?
And if you resonate with other people who also have good intentions too, then you can have some fun and you can enjoy your music. Once you are aware of it, then the healing process can begin, and you can heal other people as well and enjoy it as well, and be fulfilled yourself. The continuum of the cycle.
Yes. You see what I mean? The continuation of a cycle, which is joy, love, and ecstasy, from peace to pleasure, from pleasure to peace. You know what I mean? Not peace to war. Huh?
And
enjoy fighting for peace. Enjoy the pheromones. Because this also correlates to the chemical secretions. Because this is also a chemical laboratory you got here. So we got everything that they try to tell you to go to pharmacy for. We can create that, and even new cocktails of chemicals that enable us to vibrate at those higher planes in consciousness within our own vehicle here.
Organic chemistry.
Yes, thank you. Brilliant. What's that? A new word? Brilliant. Anyway, exactly. Organic chemistry. Which is homeopathy's trying to mimic. You know what I mean? But you've already got it all within you. You see? So we talked about music in a different way.
Who knew that there was so many vibrancy and plethora of frequencies and vibrations and a feast of the spectrum of sound.
You see, and they're
tapestry.
A tapestry, and they all correlate with you. Yeah, there's a music going on in you of frequencies based on your organs. There's a symphony taking place within your energy system. And when that's humming, like you use the word just that, you can feel the vibration opening up your heart.
He didn't mean Bisto either.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Bisto. You know what I mean? Bisto.
You can have fun with it too. That's how you can laugh.
Basically.
You
You see what I'm saying?
Which is a nice sound too, you know?
Yes, exactly. You know, when you're laughing from the heart. Sometimes you got some scornful, dirty laughs. You know what I'm saying? You can feel, that sound's coming from.
You kind of it twists your face in another direction. Yeah.
You know, because it's where you're coming from, you know. Yeah. Where you're coming from. So, brother, I mean, how have you found music correlating with, you see the notes, you see when we was playing earlier today?
Yeah.
There are certain notes that you feel open up certain centers in your brain.
Yes.
That correlate and open with your heart, open space. And it's like we're using key notes to open up and activate these inner dimensions within our own being. Yeah, we're experiencing this directly today.
Yes, we did experience that. That was like, I'm going to use it in terms of in real time. Yeah. Our real time within the vortex or the dimension that we came and we chose, and we opened the vortex that we shared, that we would not necessarily opened up if we didn't come together and be able to do so. Yes. So it's almost like I have a particular part of the key. My brother has another particular part of the key, and without that key, without the key coming together, that dimension would not be open for us to experience something that we wouldn't have experienced otherwise.
Just by ourselves. Yeah. It makes you.
So it was a beautiful new experience actually, which was great, and it allowed us to have fun, enjoy, and to learn a new part of. A sonic experience, soundscape, to open a certain pathways of our mind that we can work on and say, okay, we have just been given, or we have just basically, how can I put it? It's almost like open up a chest of a treasure trove. And you go, wow, this is incredible. This is like an Aladdin. Well, it's not Aladdin's case because we're not thieves. So I don't look at it. It's like a gift. That's it. Yeah. We have opened up a lovely gift box. And we didn't know what was in it, but we know that it was gift. We know that one thing we knew that even though we didn't know what it was, but we knew that it was going to be something good. So there's always going to be a surprise. Yeah. An element of like, what's this beautiful candy? Yeah. I mean, a very beautiful. I mean, a candy that isn't going to rot your teeth, rot your brain, decay you. But something that's going to actually fulfill you and feed you. Yeah. For you to nourishes you. It's almost like going on another journey, on another pathway to another existence, and thinking, okay, so what it did for us, it just took us on this journey. And the more we played, the more we investigate, the more this path, this journey, and it kept on opening up more pathways and more, it just kept on opening up pathways, kept on going from one mansion to the next mansion. As we're going through, we're taking nuggets and diamonds and so forth, and our brains are being tinkled with sensations. Yeah, there you go, vibrations, which then now stimulates you to vibrate, your mind to vibrate at a high frequency, to then now be able to receive ideas are coming through you. That's gonna propel you to do even more, to go forward. Yes. I say it's a revolution, very progressive. Mm-hmm. It's a very progressive stuff, and it frees you from being mundane. It does free from being mundane. It takes you into a transcendental state. Yes. Where you now more can easily relate with your real self. It's the higher self. Yes, that's right. Higher self. You're relating with the higher self. That's right. That's right. So music is to inspire you, but music has been used as a term to disguise mind control through frequencies that are being told. You're being told that this is music, but there's no melody. It's not melodic. Harmonics, where are they? You see what I'm saying? So the music is being used to disconnect the youths from our generation. Mm-hmm. From
I would say
What
I
you
would
said
say the
earlier
second
on.
generation after
Yeah, but what
ours.
you're saying earlier on, like sometimes music can be punctuated with, as you said before, egotistical stuff. It's very base stuff.
Yeah, personality music.
The cult of personality.
Yeah, the cult of
And-
personality.
and-
That's what you got, y'all.
and-
Call music today.
Yeah, and therefore, and then you'd have basic down to various stuff of politicians controlling sort of stuff, so you can go to war because the army uses music.
Yeah.
Let's not be
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
the cult of personalities, you know,
Yes.
and they're gonna sacrifice you
Yeah.
with those frequencies if you're not careful.
Yeah. And you use
So,
the word. Yeah, finish off, brother. Just continue.
So hopefully you try not to be caught up in that kind of frequency, but to free yourself from that frequency, because as I said before, it is not harmony, it's disharmony.
It's disharmony.
Yeah.
And that is why, you know, this type of frequency is being, you know, they want it to be prevalent in how it's being used, because disharmony creates conflict, war, aggression.
It does indeed.
You know, so now it's all destruction. All right, and it's through the music. And music is one of the weapons. They've weaponized music. Okay, but this is how you can transcend all of this. You have a frequency within yourself that resonates with the cosmic frequency, the universal tone or the cosmic tone, and you carry it within you as your soul frequency. And that now. You see, your soul frequency, not personality vibration, but your soul frequency is called home tone frequency. So you then can find notes and keys that soothe you along a piano. But let me change this. Things like pianos, trumpets, saxophones, these are standardized in 440. But when you're dealing with the old pianos and you're dealing with stringed instruments, tuned instruments, you can tune your instrument to the frequency matches.
Quadraphonic instruments, let's just do an architectural deconstruction.
All right, go on, bro.
Of sound here in terms of instrumentation.
Yes.
You mentioned the piano, and the piano basically is an imbira with a harp put in it.
Say that again? It's
the piano is basically an imbira, and they call it a thumb piano, the African instrument.
Yes.
With a harp put inside it.
Okay, look at that.
With hammers knocking on the strings.
Hey, look at that. You know how instruments really began and the so-called evolution of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if you take out the
you got the xylophone.
the harp, harp,
Yeah.
and you revert back to the imbira, which is the thumb piano, or the instrument that you use that you hit with your fingers.
Your thumb, it's a thumb piano.
And you take away the hammer that's hitting the strings.
Yes.
Then you're basically back with the original kind of stuff, and that is tuned in a different instrument. And not only that, they're all made in different sizes.
Yes.
So it's no longer standardized.
Yes, there you go.
You no longer have a standardized sound.
Yes, absolutely. Look at that. You know what I mean? We could have gone into where the original saxophones, pianos, guitar, all of that came from. But here's another thing to bring it back to actually the ultimate source. If you notice that all of the instruments in music, or what is used for music as such, are actually mimicking the sounds that generate from within our own sound chamber, our body through our voice. You've got the bass tones, warm notes. You've got the depth and the highs, you know what I'm saying? And you find, like, look, the guitar is mimicking the voice. The bass is mimicking the voice.
Absolutely.
The drums are mimicking the heartbeat.
There's nothing that's
and-
misconstrued when you
and the
mention the
rhythm.
guitar. People think like, oh yes, the guitar was the precursors that would be the lute. No, it's not. It sounds nothing like it.
I've never heard that, but that's what some people
say,
Yeah.
you know, the one that's shaped like an almond, isn't it? The lute and so forth.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm gonna be controversial here.
And that's a wind instrument, not a string instrument.
No, the lute is.
Okay,
The lute,
it's
you
one
know.
string, isn't it?
The lute has many strings. The lute,
must
but
be
it's an
singing or
Arabic
something else.
instrument also.
Right.
You know. But I beg to differ. I say
Well, there you
I say
go.
the precursor
You
to the
expand your
guitar.
knowledge all the time.
I said the precursor to the guitar, and it sounds like a guitar. And I said, go on YouTube and listen to these masters playing it, and you know it sounds exactly like a guitar. The only difference is the architecture is pretty similar, and it comes in different forms and shapes and sizes in terms of architecture.
Right.
But it's played exactly like the guitar, and it's tuned in many different ways. And then
So
you
it's
see the
got-
precursor to the modern guitar,
Right.
what we call like the Spanish guitar, whatever.
Right.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yes. Yes.
But that is the precursor, and it's called. The name will come to me in a minute. The name will come to me in a minute.
Okay.
Keep talking.
All right.
But
So.
Ngoni.
Ngoni.
Ngoni Jale.
Okay. Ngoni Jele.
Ngoni Jale.
So look at this. These we can go with how.
I would say that would be the precursor to the guitar.
Okay.
Before it came into the Spanish guitar and then electric guitar.
But it's interesting because even the word.
Listen to the sound of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
These masters out there, they are playing it today. And if you didn't see the instrument, you heard it, you'd say someone's playing the guitar.
Guitar. Well, it's interesting because even the word guitar, that goes back to Sanskrit, Gita.
Yeah.
And that can be,
yeah.
you know, and Gita means
Guitar.
song.
Yeah, you go.
Okay. So Gita
So,
goes back way.
Yeah. So it's actually an ancient instrument, even though people want to put it into the modern of the 1800s or something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The invention of the guitar.
Yeah.
The modern guitar.
The modern day guitar.
Yeah.
Well, you see, even with the word guitar, meaning song, it goes to show you that what I was saying, that we are the original instruments. This physical, biological.
But as I said, I'm not taking away from, as you said, you mentioned before, of ancient architectural instruments that's all around the world. You know, they all have their different sounds and different frequencies. But it's all natural frequencies that they use.
Yes,
dependent, which is determinant on the animals that they're listening to and the types of materials that they're using to produce their instruments.
Yes, you see, that's a good, interesting point to integrate with it, because, like with the drums now, for example, why are you using cow skin, goat skin, or sheep skin? You see, you know, because there's a certain sound when you hear the goat, where you know the sound of the goat. You can, when you're playing the drums, you this is where you get the sound from, based upon the animal skin
and the wood as well, which resonates different.
The resonant chamber of the wood. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, I'm correlating it to ourselves. We have a resonant chamber within ourselves called our chest. And you also got resonant chambers in the brain and parts of the head. You got resonant chambers in all different aspects of your body where your voice is resonating in those resonating chambers, which is why sound becomes also what enables you to when I say healing, it's reattuning your body to the natural harmonics of its own self, or the integrity of your own vibrations. So Gita is song, so therefore you're dealing with your voice.
Yeah.
So this is why I was saying that the instruments have become an extension of all what was within us. The sounds we can make with our voice.
Yes, that's what the instruments are. It's just an extension of the human voice.
There you go. You see? So this is important to understand, to now really understand, to empower ourselves, because we're living in a time where it's about taking back our own personal authority and power. And rather than giving it over to external authorities called these corporation institutions. And plus we're living in you know, with this conjunctions, and I don't know how folks experience that, because some people, you know, because the energy is amplifying for the next 6 months. So we're not just talking about, oh, well, the day is come and it's done, it's over, and let's get on with whatever, you know what I mean, you want to do after. We're dealing with a buildup of what is to bring ones into more of an alignment with themselves, their soul identity. So when we talk about being an instrument, people want to talk about being a vessel, a channel, a medium. You see? So this is now when we're dealing with, you know, this is you see what I'm saying?
Vibrating from the original temple.
You see, here we go, people. You see what I'm saying? You know, vibrating from the original temple, and understanding that you're the original instrument, a cosmical instrument, not a manufactured instrument. And therefore, this instrument does have a purpose. Your ego personality, so to speak, does have a purpose. but it's not who you are. Just like your instrument. Man is playing guitar, playing bass, trumpet, trombone, saxophone, piano, keyboards, string, are they string instrument, percussion? Yeah, they're masters on it, but they're not the instrument. Yeah, the instrument is an extension of where they're expressing the deeper essence of themselves through it. Yeah, and that's why you end up feeling the vibration, the vibes, the positive vibration based upon the positive source the sounds are emanating from, you see? And if it wasn't coming from that place, you'd sense when a sound hits you. Because sounds also, frequencies affect you psychologically, emotionally, and physically. So there is more to music than people just saying, it's just music. These people are not sensitive. They don't know music. They're just dealing with sounds and, they don't understand the science of themselves.
Yeah. Please, people out there, do not desensitize yourself from your senses, from what you're hearing, from what you're feeling, from what you're seeing, and from your eternal vibration.
Yeah,
because you're basically committing suicide, really, aren't you?
Well, you know what I'm saying.
Or to allow somebody else to desensitize you.
You see what I mean? So wow. Look at the times move so quick. It's 22:18. I'm feeling I should do a 22:22 end, which would leave 4 minutes for us. And
I would like to say for the end of that, so all the people out there, you lovely people out there, enjoy your sounds, embrace your sounds, and embrace yourself and your temple, and hopefully be whole.
Well, return to your wholeness.
There you go, yeah.
You see? Because we're souls. And it's about shifting your awareness more to this primordial energy, I'm telling you.
Enjoy your vibes.
Primordial love energy, yeah? This is filling all space. It's boundless, okay? That's what it means by tuning into something that's bigger than you. But it's also you. It's not, separate from you. It's the actual larger, truer, deeper reality of you, or broader reality of you, and broader reality. But when we're focusing our attention on just this mind and emotions and body, this is what keeps you attached to the ego, which is basically a fictitious identity, a fictitious I. I've spoken before about the word ego actually breaks down to actually I. If you look it up, it's Latin for I. And the I really that you're dealing with here is the capital E, go. Yeah, the capital E with the ego with the capital E. Because you're dealing with the deeper I, the deep I, not the surface I. The surface I is superficial, it's illusionary. So the music sounds can draw you deeply in towards your deep I, the innermost I. Yeah? That innermost I, which is in each and every one of we, because when you come to readdress yourself, nobody can escape I. Even if you go me, you're referring to I. Who's the I? And you hear the term all-seeing I, all-knowing I. Huh? Well, it's all-seeing and all-known, of course, because it's within you. You see everything you do. Yeah? But what is seeing is you, your ultimate self, not a separate entity that now you believe is, judging me. The me is the fictitious self. It's the instrument. So in this time with the Capricorn, all the energies in Capricorn here, the stellium, and we had the solar eclipse, and then we had the lunar eclipse. So we had the solar eclipse in Capricorn, and then we had the lunar eclipse in Cancer, the polarity opposite to Capricorn. So you're seeing mother and father thing here, the father and the mother. So the deconditioning from the false authorities and the recreating, you could say, of your emotional relationship with yourself. So you break free from the childhood emotional structure that was conditioned way back then. That shapes your sense of personal image and the way you see yourself. All of that is coming up to be purged for the alignment and emergence of your soul consciousness. Capricorn is also about the physical, right? It deals with the structure, the bones, the teeth, the enduring parts of the form. Hence why Capricorn can be related to that, they don't like short-term things. Has to have some time, duration, has to be durational. So that's showing you the correlation with Saturn, time, Capricorn, the builder. You know what I mean? So, and it's the director, navigator. It's the manifester. Okay? So, it's structure. When you're building structure has a purpose because the structure must be serving something. The structure is there, and when we say serving, the manifestation of this vessel or this structure, organized and defined, is for the purpose of what it's going to contain. Like a building is going to contain people, or it's going to contain certain facilities for where people can enter into it and partake in these facilities, these activities. So therefore, the structure serves a purpose, or if you want to say, because the word service and servant, okay, it means slavery. Now you can then say that your instrument is a slave, on the most loving way, yeah, because it's a slave for that which created it.
So we're going to be slaves to the rhythm.
You hear that? But you see, that slave to the rhythm now is a damn mind control friggin'.
Yeah.
That's a mind control trigger. That statement there. Slave
Be careful
to the rhythm.
Yeah.
Right? Now you got your Grace Jones, all right? You know what I mean? But you have people who are slave to the rhythm when I'm in the music industry, and them can't make any other kind of music unless it's the kind of music them people them saying that you must make. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And you must have certain things and frequencies and sounds in your music if you are to be saleable. Yeah,
they're oppressive.
Yeah, you see what goes on? So you either, join the bandwagon or get kicked out from it. You see, this is the type of thing people are forced into making music.
And you did mention we have a choice, as you mentioned before.
Yeah.
You can either be a slave dealer or you can be a freedom.
Yeah, you can be a slave driver, or you can be a free. You see, this is about freedom, the time we're in now.
You can be a free sentient being.
There you go, sovereign.
Mm.
Yeah. So this is why it's about claiming back your own inner authority and inner power. That doesn't mean say, boy, you now start going on like no, but you don't want to be complimentary to others or resonate. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. You don't. What you mentioned earlier today, like something to do with selling yourself.
Yeah.
Selling yourself.
Yeah, this is what they have.
You've
now.
got to sell yourself.
Yeah. And before you were sold, man, you were sold by slave. You know what I mean? You kidnappers, all right? And
don't
slave
sell
drivers.
yourself for the sound that you produce.
Look at that.
Because that's a recyclable commodity.
You see?
Never do that because you are not recyclable.
You see?
Only the commodity. So if you do it, go with a true heart. That's the byproducts.
Right. Right.
Not you as the product.
Yeah. You see? They even call it brand. Oh, you got to defend your brand now.
You got to brand yourself.
Yeah.
Slavery.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So now you're saying now you want to sell yourself. You know, see the crazy psychological you know what I mean, implications of this stuff, and people don't understand the subconscious, the impression, what is actually going into your subconscious and making you become willingly, so to speak. Yeah, because it's still a level of unconsciousness. But anyway, the thing is that you are the instrument. Music is inspiration. You are the original instrument. And you know what it is? A wind instrument. That's what you are. You're a wind. The physical form is a wind instrument, okay? And therefore, an electrical, cosmological one. Your electrical, cosmological, biological instrument, wind instrument, yeah? So that means that you're dealing with you're a receiver, transmitter for higher etheric waves. Hence you got air waves and you got water waves. Aquarius is the air waves, right? It seems that it's water because it's pouring out the jar, but it's pouring out the etheric air waves. Through the etheric air waves, you're getting higher knowledge. You're getting information. You're getting inundated with liberation knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Freedom. Yeah, man. Freedom and free up yourself. So, it's about really letting go of the illusion and surrendering into the deep of yourself, the cosmic ocean within you. You want to be self-realized, which is consciousness realizing itself. This is what wakening up is. It's not about you trying to become more spiritual or have to be seen as,
absolutely. You're already
some
there
label.
to realize it.
Yeah. And this is the big trick. So a lot of people run around with spirituality. It's like, no, it's just another egoic fallacy.
I think what it is, what you just said there is people want to sell the spiritual as a commodity.
As a commodity, so now become commerce. These things were never meant to be in that arena at all. So this is where you see the egoic hijacking. It's a Western thing, and everybody gets caught up in it if you're not dealing with the integrity of your inner being. Yeah? And wake up and return home. So listen, it's come to the time that it's about to go. It's gone on to the next, 3 minutes towards that marker, which I'm going to end the show. I mean, Clyde must have either got lost up listening or other things that must have happened because his brother's busy. So we could have him on next Tuesday because he wanted to also introduce something very, that would correlate to this about, the explosion, expansion of consciousness and what's happening now. I mean, me and Clyde, we go way back. And in the earliest times, these are the things I've always been in tune with, more than the way we, can get caught up with the past and, the false identity still by labeling yourself, rather than go into that, because we can go into that, but it will go into another level of discussion. So, Theo, my brother Theo, I was thinking maybe we would have had time and played some notes and stuff, but he will be back. He will be back. So, we won't give you everything at once. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah. So, So I will be wrapping this up. I mean, if you all liked what the contents on this, and will you, hit the like, so I will talk more on it because I can expound on it even more, and we will go into other areas of how we open keys, how notes and keys are what opens up the higher dimensions within your own being, okay, your own awareness, okay, and how your voice, and this is the things that I actually do teach and facilitate, I should say, because as I said, all the instruments are really mimicking the voice, and the vocal sonics. They used to be. Do you remember when we was growing up? Before I end this, Soul Sonic Force. Well, yo, this is a great name as a dance. It's a dance group, man. Soul Sonic Force. Let me tell you, that's what we need to know. We are. Activate our soul sonic force. Yeah, man. Sonic is sound. Okay, and soul is, the immutable consciousness, indestructible consciousness, the allness of you. So so this is how the topic of music and how it influences us, and you may not have heard it this way before. You might have expected some different thing. We're gonna play some tunes, auntie, which that's a part of it, and that's all coming. You know what I mean? When you listen to music, listen to the lyrical content. Because you could be dancing to music. Oh man, this feeling good and thing. But you're getting programmed with some really dirty, twisted up type of thing. Next minute, you don't understand why you're behaving in a certain way or feeling a certain way, So what you're ingesting, what you internalize, externalizes. So yeah, music. So we'll just wrap it up here now. So music is really about inspiration from the word muse, and go do your little research and so forth. And really, music is an extension of ourselves. And Theo is going to say a few words in from a sonic perspective. Yeah. So
thank you for having me, Simon. It was very interesting, and it was beautiful. So,
bro, I appreciate you being here and stuff, and I know that there's so much more you yourself could have shared and gone into, but you're going to be back, okay? And so, as I said, we're not going to spoil them. I'll give them so much. I think this is like an inundation enough as it is, because we know we can go into different areas. But while I talk and do the outro, please, Theo, just do some, just play some, whatever way you want, some way called cosmic keys. All right. So this was Cosmic Roots show this evening. Yeah, on the 14th of January in 2020. And brought to you again another show to assist in the expansion and the remembrance of our cosmic roots. Yeah. So I'm gonna bid you all a good shadow hour. And until next Tuesday for Cosmic Roots show again. And as I said, if you all like this, do give a thumbs up, press like. The show's going to take on another dimension, and you'll see it unfold throughout the year. Alright, so much love, y'all, my cosmic soul brothers and sisters.